appreciation, gratitude, and love. They are not only powerful means of transforming consciousness, they are veritable gateways into Samadhi. Some of my first experiences with these as tools for transformation came with complete innocence. It was during my teen years. I was not always in a very good, happy place in my teen years. I was especially around 14, 15, 16. Those were really tumultuous years. My mother had died when I was 13, and I don't think I really knew how to grieve all that well. And so there was a lot of tension build up. There was a lot of depression. All sorts of different things were going on, just on top of the normal teenage tumult. And so I used to take these walks around my hometown. It was a very beautiful hometown, actually in all 4 seasons of the year. But there would be these times where I'd leave the door, leave my house, and sort of my view of the world was kind of like this. Everything was just being totally boxed in by my own internal dilemmas. There really wasn't much space for anything but tiny little depressed, angry, whatever me. But then, there would be these times, like for instance in the spring, I remember being down by the lake shore in my town. There were these really, really beautiful cherry trees that are still there, that are planted on the shores of Lake Geneva. And I would look at one of those cherry blossoms, coming out really early spring, and something about it would just get me. And I would just start appreciating it and think, oh my God, what an absolutely beautiful blossom. And sometimes this would sort of snowball on itself and keep going. And pretty soon, it wasn't just how beautiful the blossom was, that appreciation had turned into genuine gratitude for life, the universe, and everything. It was not only, isn't that such a beautiful cherry blossom, but wow, maybe actually this is sort of a user-friendly universe. Maybe it's not sort of a cruel or callous type of imprisonment, this thing called life. There's profound gratitude bursting out of my heart. And in this gratitude, I would notice that not only my perception of the world would be changing in tangible ways, the colors getting brighter and crisper, the sounds a little bit more pleasant and melodious. But my internal sense of consciousness would often be very much changed than the sort of egocentric kind of cramped self-referential prison that I've been so used to for so many years. What would be going on is there would just be this deep quiet, this big background kind of peace that would start to propagate in my experience. And if that would snowball even further, sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, if that kept going, that gratitude would melt into a love or a bliss. And pretty soon, then the boundary between me and the people that I was walking by, or me and the park benches, or me and the trees, and just me and everything, that sense of a boundary would start to melt. There would be this sense that my consciousness wasn't just moored in the little tiny box a couple inches behind the eyes, or people have that in different places, I understand, but that my consciousness would be everywhere. And that was appreciation, gratitude, and love. And that was amazing. And I didn't even, funnily at the time, I didn't have words for it. I remember it's been a couple years later, down the road, I was being told about this meditation practice called the Ishaya's Ascension. I'd never heard of it before. It didn't seem all that interesting. And then on the brochure, or the book, or the sort of elevator pitch descriptions people would give me would be like, praise, gratitude, and love. And to my ascetic, my sort of intense ascetic mind, those sounded like, oh, that doesn't sound like it'd be particularly effective. And I didn't even put it together. I didn't even put it together with the fact that just probably a year or 2 weeks earlier, I was experiencing these things very naturalistically. The power of appreciation, gratitude, and love. Now the other power, if we want to call it that, that I experienced with this naturalistic and even sort of prompted gratitude. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of you all listening to this have done gratitude journaling or these sorts of things. I've done that too, not so in a very consistent or long-term manner, but any time that I've ever done that or just had a 5 to 10 minutes even of kind of gratitude bombing, we'll put it, just going through, I have to say that has had also an immensely profound effect. But what I was getting to before that digression was the other power of appreciation, gratitude, and love that I discovered by accident was that it does seem to be linked with, we could call manifestation or law of attraction or these sorts of things. In my experience, the manifesting wouldn't necessarily always. It didn't feel like it was such an active kind of agentic sort of thing. Like gotta have me that. It was always has been most powerful, as almost more like I'm letting myself sink in or merge in with a river that's already flowing. A river that's inside, that's outside. So it's kind of like that. Basically, myself, the little less self, we call it that, getting in alignment with a much larger current. And sometimes it would be desires that I would remember, that my own little, individual spark, my own little mind, had a desire when I was 9 for something like that. And oh my God, I'm 17 now, but here it is. It's happening just as I had wanted back then. So, of course, the utility of that desire to a 17-year-old, not necessarily always, always what we're after. A little example of that, just because examples are more fun, is when I was 6 or 5. I think I was 5. When I was 5, I had this G.I. Joe. That I this is funny. I had this little G.I. Joe action figure, Serpentor, a bad guy, that I absolutely loved. This action figure. We were on vacation, and I used to sleep with it on my pillow. I woke up at this motel in Indiana or Ohio on our way home, and it was gone. Couldn't find it. We tore the place up. It was just gone, and I was so bummed on the entire drive back from Ohio to Wisconsin. And I remember being gifted one of these when I was 17, years after, of course, I had any interest in having a little Serpentor. But it's just a strange, spontaneous gift from someone. Like, would you like this Serpentor? It's like, oh, yes, I would. So there have been many examples like that, but there are also more things that were much more interesting and profound. Another example, and I don't want to blather on too much. This was when I was 20, just 20, I think, yeah. No, 19, my goodness. Anyways, I was back home in Wisconsin, taking sort of a break from monastic life in Oregon, and I was walking with my sister and my soon-to-be brother-in-law and his brother, and we were walking actually on that same lakeshore path. And this wasn't a desire of mine, but it became a desire. I was walking. As we were walking, I saw the old, this kind of American Legion canteen hot dog stand next to the beach in the distance. And it just popped into my heart immediately, that as sort of a desire, but desire/prophecy, that, oh, they're going to offer us 2 hot dogs. They'll be the last hot dogs that they have available out there. They will offer them to us, and they won't want to charge us for anything, and we'll have the hot dogs with everything on them. And my goodness, it was just so clear, and just that this was what was going to happen. So as we walked towards the stand, I mean, I had already been sort of filled up with appreciation, gratitude, and love from doing my Ishaya meditation practice with my eyes open. But that just started to build like a presence moving through. We could call it Shakti. It get louder and louder and louder until, of course, right in front of this hot dog stand, not expecting anything, because I was just, my consciousness was completely in the present moment, not really attached to results or any of that, which I also think is a very important, bit if you're into manifestation, those sorts of things. And there they were. The lady who was operating said, "Would you like our last hot dogs?" You know, and I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And she said, "What would you like?" I said, "Yeah, just put everything on them." And she's like, "They're on the house." And just that little thing was strange because, you know, I'm not necessarily advocating for the consumption of hot dogs here, uh, but I definitely am advocating for allowing oneself to flow with the magic of life and allow oneself to have, you know, waltz into these synchronicitous experiences. Because within that synchronicity also was a profound fulfillment that went way, way beyond receiving a couple hot dogs. It was rather more of a fulfillment of a deepened connection to the fact that this own life stream right here is intrinsically connected at the deepest layer to all of life. And in fact, that life isn't proceeding from the little plans of mice and men that are concocted in my tiny little brain, but rather, and it includes those tiny plans of mice and men, life is something that is living us. You know, life is something that is happening. That sounded like a stoner thought to end with. So why don't we end with that? The stoner thought, life is happening. So enjoy some appreciation, gratitude, and love. And if you enjoy this video, I guess I'm supposed to say please like and subscribe and hit that little bell-shaped thing. And if you're interested in any of if you're interested in learning some beautiful meditation practice, you can look at the information below the video and you'll find a link to my website. And if you're keen on having a very, very competent, messy-haired, intuitive astrologer, look no farther from myself, and you'll also find the link to the astrological and intuitive website in the information below. A Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Festivus for the rest of us.